Ekonene. So kuna hii headline nilibaki nimecheki kwa NTV Kenya, ilikuwa ni pray for Raila ODM MP appeals. Alafu hii kama kimeni remind that on Sunday kulikuwa na the whole debate about Raila's health. Paka kuna vile the Standard on Monday ilikuwa na headline Raila health wars. Alafu kwa hiyo headline kulikuwa na a vicious rumor war exploded yesterday as ODM and Wiper Party traded bars over claims that Raila Odinga is gravely ill. ODM accused a section of the opposition, singling out Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa of peddling malicious disinformation after social media posts said the 80-year-old was hospitalized. Raila's camp says he left the country for a brief medical holiday, and Ida Odinga called the rumors baseless. Wiper hit back, calling ODM's outrage political theatre and denying any ill intent. In the end, the speculation persists and the nation waits are still unsure what to believe. So ilikuwa Monday asubuhi, and this was like the headline at the Standard. So let's go back to hii ingine. So after history ya ODM MP appeals kabidi lazima ni click link ni check niaje. So ikakuwa ni pray for Raila, ODM legislator appeals amid conflicting reports. So you have to wonder, which ODM MP is this? That's the number one question you ask yourself. And then you ask yourself that if Raila is not sick, as vile tuko tushaambiwa tayari na Nini kwa tumeambiwa na like the ODM party itself when they released their statement, why would this specific MP be asking for people to pray for Raila? So when you click on that link, what do you find out? Una find that the MP ule ana ask tubaki tume pray for Raila is none other than Caroli Omondi. And this is where it gets interesting, because ilikuwa ni conflicting reports continue to swirl over veteran politician Raila Odinga's health status. On a day, one of his ODM legislators made an appeal for special prayers for his recovery. Then ikakuwa ni Suba South MP Caroli Omondi on Sunday called on Christians wabaki send a special prayer. And why this makes it interesting is Caroli anakuaga mse fulani ule controversial ikikam to ODM, because it depends with who you're talking to. This is the sort of guy who went, I think, one of these media stations akasema that ODM is no longer the ODM that it used to be. And in the process kabaki amesema that kuna places where the ODM ticket even no one is fighting for ikikam to the upcoming by-elections, because that's how much ODM is gone. So now we can remind, like utaka kujua how much Caroli is hated. Can remind kuna hii post ilikuwa there like 2 days ago. Ilikuwa post ya msanajita Vigilante Vanguard. Alikuwa ameandika ODM might be facing collapse after 20 years in opposition without producing a president. Na hii ilikuwa ni a video on Plug TV, and on this video specifically the most quoted MP ilikuwa ni Caroli Omondi. Alafu what did Robert Alai write? Caroli Omondi should be immediately chased from ODM. You can't have party tickets but insulting the party all the time. Ama you can't have the party ticket and keep insulting the party all the time. So damn, this now throws a very interesting perspective kwa history yote, because the fact that Caroli Omondi is not a loyal member, if all the other loyal members are told to shut him, of course he won't shut them. Yeah, because anizamwa like ekonene, I'm going to speak my mind, and this is the reality. This guy is gravely ill. So saizi it gets interesting. Then there's another photo that was shared, and this photo was allegedly shared to show that Raila yuko sawa. So ni photo fulani ya Raila kamekana mse fulani, and we are coming back to this photo. What I learned about the photo later was that umsamekana Raila apparently ni msanaitwa Walter Owino. So nani komentika ni Walter Owino? Yo ni Maverick Aoko. Na Mavericks unajuaga vile udu, ye ni ana attack and defend at the same time. So alikuwa ameandika Walter Owino MP Awendo, friend of mine. When I joined University of Nairobi in 2018, he paid half of my fees. Uko like, damn, she's praising this dude. Then akaendelea, huwaga very close na Rao, even buys undies for Jacom. Damn, tira yote mwagajo kununua ngoza. Kitendawili. Okay, damn, I don't know how that goes. Then kakwa, this is an old photo. When people claim you're dying or dead, then kakwa you debunk it while posing with your family, not with a sycophant. So hii nikalikuwa nabonga na Raila. So how is Raila's health status? I don't know. But photo, if you go back to the photo had been shared, and the photo had been shared wakisema that this is Raila enjoying the match yake ya West Ham na Arsenali. Shida ni Wakenya kama kawaida wakabaki naitwa nini? Wakabaki upscale the photo. And after upscaling the photo, what did they find in the background? The background imeandikwa King's College Hospital, London. King's College Hospital, London. And then Kenyans took it to the next level. Ikakuwa ni the specialities ya the King's College Hospital. Number 1 ni liver disease and transplantation. Number 2 ni neurosciences, sciences that is. Number 3 ni hemato-oncology, that's blood cancers and related disorders. Alafu number 4 ni stroke and major trauma care. So after all this, we go back to the original question. How is Raila? Is he okay? Is he sick? I don't know. Saizi, I'd say it's confusing. On Friday, of course, there were too many rumors, and niko nafikiria ni zile rumors tu za kawaida za wase on social media, they wish you death and people come up with all these stories. Hiyo inaweza kuwa. But saizi, considering the conflicting messages coming in, and the one disloyal member of ODM coming out and say pray for this guy. Unajua, the one disloyal, like one of many disloyal, but yeye wagapo kwa frontline. He goes against the party line and he does all that. So says G, but right now it's looking at like he's sick. Is he gravely sick? I don't know. But yeah, that's what I can deduct from all this drama that's happening, because there's too much drama. Alafu ikigo as far as tuangalie mse kama Gachagua yuko quoted akisema that ana wish Raila a long life so that anzabaki watch Ruto akishindwa. So kiangalia vitu kama hizi zote, some of those zile za okay, why would Gachagua? Yes, they've been the rumors that Gachagua anamwish badly, but why does he need to comment on that? Because politicians mostly, you'll notice that at some point politicians are there like I don't need to comment on that. Let that go. Let that go. So the fact that Gachagua felt like he needed to talk about that shows that yes, there might be something hapo. But yeah, wacha tucheki. So Gachagua alikuwa quoted akisema nini? My prayer is that God gives Raila a long life and good health. I pray to God that he supports William Ruto so that we defeat both of them in 2027. We'd like to deal with Kenyans' problem once and for all, and it's the two of them. So yes, that's what Gachagua alikuwa amesema. So is Raila well? Is he sick? I don't know. But wewe mwenyewe from hizi story nimekupatia na kuzoom in tukitafuta King's College hapa na kuangalia vitu zina happen King's College, niambie hapo kwa comments, what do you think is happening with this guy? Is he well ama is he sick? Unajua, because the worst thing about life is the older that you get, the more frail that you become, the more your immune system is compromised. That's number 1. Alafu number 2, ikikam to vitu kama cancers are so bad because if they're not detected early, let's say, okay, sisemi iko na cancer, but nasema tu considering history ya King's College, if they're not detected early, by the time they're detected, unaweza end up from very healthy to being in a critical condition in a very short span. So pia kuna hiyo, because I remember kuna story nilisikia ya buda fulani who was super healthy, alafu went for a routine check, alafu vile alienda for the routine check akaambiwa like you have less than a month to live. Because but mimi niko sawa. But sasa shida ni the doctor planted that in his head, and in less than 3 weeks alikuwa gone. So there's also that side, that these things we don't know. Alafu plus most of us, we never go for these checkups. Najua inakuwaga like sometimes it's like we tell ourselves it's better not to know, because then you can just continue living your life, and if you go you go. But that comes then kuna hii danger ingine that inakuja na that. But so bila nimeuliza jo, where is Raila? Is he well? I don't know. Nipatie your theory hapo chini, be it conspiracy ama ukue maybe uko King's College, because Wakenya najua tuko kila pahali. tuambie kama mcheki. So tukitoka hapo, of course, one of the guys would be super worried with a sick Raila, and this is going to sound funny, is William Ruto. At some point, a sick Raila would have been very good news for Ruto, but saizi it's not. So Ruto pia iko quoted akisema, we'll make sure no one is denied the opportunity to register as a voter because of lacking an identification card. And this quote is one of those that go like, is it the right time to say this? No one is denied. Yes, so what are we going to do? How are we going to make sure that no one is denied? And who is this no one? Is it specific regions? Is it everyone? How are we going to do this? I don't know. And because remember majuzi wamesema wametoa ile charge ya 1,000 shillings, and we are like, you brought it, don't expect us to clap for you. You're the one who started that thing of charging people for that. No one expected to be charged for, so now we are back to where we started, so we can't hatuwezi kupigia makofi juu ya that. So that was interesting to see. But now still tukistick na story za Ruto, kulikuwa na hii story pia ilikuwa breaking news on Monday, and the story was about Faith Odhiambo, the LSK president. Alikuwa amesema, I have today handed in my formal and immediate resignation from the position of vice chairperson of the panel of experts on compensation of victims of demonstrations and public protests. Nalibaki amehandi Nini to the head of public service. And this story imekuwa very controversial because there are people who think that, who feel that by compensating the victims, we are allowing the police to kill. Kuna watu wanafikiria hivyo. Kuna watu wengine wanafikiria by compensating the victims before the court cases are heard and determined, then we are also tunasema like this is justice. Pesa ni justice, and we should not pursue the other. And then there are people like me, for example, who feel like the families should be compensated because some of these families are too young. Nakunga familia mtuka Boniface Karaoke left a widow and I think a very young kid that need the money. So I don't know, it's very controversial. So mother ametoka. So now the question is, what's going to happen to this whole compensation thing? And as I keep saying, and I'm going to take and say this is of course my fault, nimekuwa nikisema sana nitatafuta one of the families of the victims and try and find out what are their views on this whole thing. They believe that it should be that the compensation should still continue before the court cases are determined, or should we wait mpaka court cases ziishe? I don't know what inafaa kuhappen na hii story. It's one of those really controversial stories, because have I seen monetary compensation work in a lot of situations? Yes. In I think states inakuwaga it's a police department ama the city that pays that money, so with that they avoid any compensation. So inabidingi watu wa behave, and that's the reason why they ended up putting body cams. Najua because the body cams are cheaper than paying watu millions of dollars. So maybe is it time that hapa Kenya tumeanza kuvalisha watu body cams, these cops? Would they agree to that? And but what's going to happen to the victims? What's going to happen to the compensation? We were asking for this compensation, so are we still going to ask for this? So far I'm confused. Of course, nilibongaga na Levi Mnyeri about this like a while back, and Levi told me that the only reason, because he filed his story kwa koti, the only reason he'd filed it is because it's unconstitutional. Acheki. So hata yeye mwenyewe alibaki amepost, Faith Odhiambo, you've done the right thing, better late than never. Let us now deal with the rest of the panel and deliver justice for our slain and injured patriots. So Levi alibaki ameniambia that one of the reasons why he was against this was because it was unconstitutional, that anything that's not etched in the constitution somehow, hata ikisemekana aje, it ends up ikiwa unconstitutional. And that means it can be challenged, and that means that any payment that comes from that is illegal. Then still Levi alikuwa amepost earlier, because kumekuwa na hii controversy yake the reason why he ended up filing the petition outside Nairobi, because alifile kwa the Kerugoya High Court. So alikuwa ameandika, the lifespan of a constitutional petition at Milimani High Court is averagely a year. The petition that I filed at Kerugoya High Courts this September already has a judgment date of 11th November 2025. For issues of national importance, let's utilize high courts outside Nairobi. Okay, so yeye anasema hivyo, like high courts za Nairobi, because everyone goes to them, they take too long. So baki umeenda nje. And this was also interesting for me. Why? It was interesting because, as I keep saying, right now we are back to that tribal politics and looking at everything tribally. So I think, if I'm not wrong, ilikuwa ni umse anaitwa Alai, and Alai had ended up commenting on that and saying, as you see, ilikuwa ni someone else, but Alai reposted. Ilikuwa ni mtu anajita yangu ni yangu, aliandika ethnicized quote, alafu Alai akabaki retweet. So, but I actually feel that makes sense. If the case hapa Kenya gets kwa 1 year and there's another court that can hear it fast and determine it fast, then it's good. Because if you actually go to the letter, what had the letter written? We attended, ilikuwa ni Harvey and co-advocates. So hii ni Nelson Harvey. We attended court today for directions on the hearing of your application for conservatory orders. The matter was listed before Honorable Mr. Justice Edward M. Mureithi. We indicated to the court that we'd file submissions on the petition and asked the application to be dispensed in favor of an expedited hearing of the petition. The court directed that the petition be heard on 21st of October 2025 at 10 a.m. and the judgment on the same be delivered on 11th November 2025. We will attend court for the hearing and advise you accordingly. Yours faithfully, then Nelson Harvey. Damn. Interview signature ya Nelson Harvey jo, and kutafuta pesa jo, na nilikuwa na signature ya ajabivu. So yes, so that's what's happening. So what's going to happen to the victims? What should we go with? As I always say, unazabaki minipatia opinion yako hapo chini, and sunajua mimi ni kwa gani ekonene, I can take a different opinion. Ekonene, nimeinterrupt show kukuremind you Lemfi. Kama uko US ama Canada na unataka kutuma do Kenya, register kwa Lemfi ukitumia promo code Ekonene. Hii itakuguarantee $20 cashback on your first $100 transaction. Alafu pia time una register, make sure umetick the 2 check boxes za notifications ndio ukireceive info about amazing offers through newsletters. Na pia usijali, Lemfi hawatumagi hizi letters za, yani unajua like messages za kipumbavu. Pia usisahau, every time una transact $50 and above una earn points. Na the more una transact, the more points you earn, and you can redeem them as cash ile time unatuma pesa. Alafu pia kitu nanibamba kabisa ni saizi ukitumia Lemfi unazabaki umelipa pay bills na till numbers directly. That means unazabaki umehandle bills za maparo wako ukiwa hizo maside za States ama maside za Canada. Alafu pia we mwenyewe as a Lemfi user baki umetafuta ile button imeandikwa get USD $20, ubaki umeinvite mabeste zako, na ukiinvite mabeste zako on their first $100 transaction unapata pesa ngapi? $20 cashback. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, ingia Lemfi. Lemfi, international payments for everyone. Ekonene. Kuna very interesting interview that's coming up, utacheki. Kuna mtu alinifurahisha sana, sitasema ni guest mgani, but the guest was talking about how they can't let parliament be invaded by the force of darkness because they have God and God is light on their side. And I had to just sit there and listen because I loved that person's conviction and the fact that they actually believed that was happening. So let's agree to disagree about our comments. Let me know, what do you think about history compensation? Should we still pursue it, ama should we wait for the court cases to end? And with the court cases pia, let me know, do you think that Nini, like Msekarex Masai atapata justice? Because kumbuka they've started messing up. Sijui Ghana haiwezi kuwa traced, sijui this can't happen. They've started playing some monkey business. So what are your 2 cents on that? Yes. Alafu tukitoka hapo acha tumalizie na hii story, and this is just one of those very sad stories. So hii story niliona kwa Nairobi Gossip. Ilikuwa ni Gengeton artist Shalkido dies after motorbike accident. And history ya Shalkido, the first time that I saw it was on Sunday night. So Ogaobina on Sunday night alibaki ameshare video, and on the video he was seated next to Buddha ya Shalkido, and they were talking about the accident. And one of the interesting things was Obina alikuwa anasema vile like at that hospital, I think in the KU referral, he'd interacted with a few doctors and he felt like one doctor was very dismissive and very rude. And try to imagine this doctor is being dismissive and rude to Obina. And considering like Obina ni msee anajulikana, now try and imagine how that such a doctor treats people who are not known and people who can't fight back. You understand? So that was very good for him to kubonga juu yake. So I think what doctor alikuwa anaitwa Zipora. Then he gave another story of a different doctor. I don't know if she was called Lillian. Another peer female doctor who was really helpful. And that doctor was the one who said that nani alikuja hapo, brain ilikuwa imeswell, and since the brain had swollen, there's nothing that they could do. The only thing that they were able to do was correct his leg. So there was that story. And then what else happened? They ended up talking about Nini. So hiyo mguu wakasema the brain they had to monitor. So walikuwa in ICU. Then a few days, then the next day, now on Monday, I remember nikienda on social media, and one of the things that I saw was ati amekuwa declared brain dead. Na hii brain dead waga, it's a very interesting thing, because it's a complex issue, because if you are considered brain dead, it means you're technically dead. And now it's up to your family to decide, should they keep you on life support, or should they let you go? What will the doctors want, or what will the hospitals want? Most hospitals will want you to be kept on like on life support, because it means money. But I guess KU referral, because haana nini. Yes, so ilikuwa on Nairobi Gossip still walikuwa wamepost Gengeton artist Shalkido has been pronounced brain dead by doctors. So brain dead, it means that there's basically nothing. Even if you survive, utaenda up ukiwa a vegetable. And ukiwa brain dead hata wezi survive, because you can't even support your head, because unajua kuna ndio kuwe nini unafaa kuwa. So this was a very sad story. Another aspect of this sad story was the aspect of alikuwa aligongwa na bodaboda. Kuna watu walisema ilikuwa ni hit and run, and I'd want to know, was he wearing a helmet? Nacheki, because another thing ile happen hapa Kenya ni helmet ikuwaga ni kitu tunaichukua za, by the way. Motorcycles are some of the most dangerous forms of transport that we use, but we use them because of necessity. Najua mi kuna time nilikuwa natumia boda like every single day, and I knew that it was Russian roulette. Najua I used to try my best nava your helmet, but still of course spinal cord ilikuwa exposed, everything else was exposed. Alafu what used to piss me off is when you're on a boda, that's when you realize how much even people who drive cars do not respect people on bodas. Are there people on bodas that misbehave? Yes, there is. But are there also people who drive cars recklessly and don't care about what kwa boda? Yes, wase kama hawa wako. And it's very sad that just because you feel like someone is less rich than you, you feel like you can just drive anyhowly and risk their lives. So that's one of the things that I used to see. And history of Shalkido, of course, another thing that comes with it is the fact that this was the year that he'd come out, and people alienda kwa Obina show, and people came out to najua offer help, and now he was trying to come back into the game. And yes, like even one of the messages that I received that I didn't know how to, not I received, that I saw on social media that I didn't know how to react to, was message ya ilikuwa nani huyu, ilikuwa ni Bahati alikuwa ameshare hii letter. The letter was, VB bro, hii ni letter ya 18th of September. Hope you're doing well. Just said I reach to you. I'm really humbled kuomba kolabo kwa D ama bosi Bahati. So this is what Bahati shared. But sasa kile sijaona ni, what did you reply the message? Kuzange city reply yake ingeonyesha that ali reply your time. Otherwise, if it's not that, it becomes tricky because we don't know, like, are you showing us this as, because sasa na Bahati hatujuagi kama anasema nini ama na cloud chase, because kuna a lot of times I may do like some fuckery shit. So I don't know how to feel about yeye kushare hii letter, because I don't know what his intent was. But kinaweza sema ni uboy, of course, I'll be honest, mi si mse wa kusikiza sailors, so out of the sailors, would I know his voice? No. Why? I was not the target market. I was a very young dude. And I think that's another thing that is sad about this whole thing, because it shows you the fragility of life and how life can be random, because this guy hits rock bottom asks for help. People start helping him. His life starts turning around. Then he gets into a grisly accident. And now we have a situation whereby a father has to bury a son. And I think that's one of the things iliwaga sad kabisa. I think hii kitu nilionaga ilikuwa kwa ni Fahrenheit 911 ama. Yes, ilikuwa ni Fahrenheit 911. And that's a documentary ya huyu buda anaitwa Michael Moore. If you've never watched it, look for it. And ilikuwa juu ya the Iraq war, hizo Afghanistan. And I've never forgotten this. Ilikuwa ni mother fulani anasema she was so convinced about the war in Iraq and Iraq having weapons of mass destruction that when her son told her to join, he's joining the Marines, alikubali because walikuwa wanaenda kuhunt for weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And then of course the son came back in a coffin. And then that's when the mother realized that there were no weapons of mass destruction. Nakungele hizo siku ndio hii phrase ilianzaga ile the evidence, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Msa alikuwa nitangwa Rumsfeld pulled that straight out of his a-hole. And I remember mother sijaisahau kwa hiyo documentary. I forget a lot of stuff, but if you watch this documentary you'll find out the woman I'm talking about. But there's a part where this woman is crying and then she says no parent should ever have to bury their kids and their kid, and that has never left me. It's just always been there with me. That's one of the experiences you don't want to happen. Ile like a mother burying their kid, a father burying their kid. So to have seen Shalkido's dad with Obina on Sunday night, and there was still hope. Najua tukanasikiaga story ya brain swelling, nasikiaga mostly what happens is you're put in a coma and then the brain goes down, hopefully. And now for them to have said on Monday that he was brain dead, even for me, like the thing that came to my mind was, if he's brain dead, then he's technically dead, because that's not Shalkido. Najua, that's not that guy who can be creative, and that guy who can be creative is gone. So this is just the body. And so he ended up passing. And very sad story. And all I naweza sema ni rest in peace to Shalkido. Iko nene.